Well, driving home from Delaware, a better day today. We weren't without our own pitfalls again. Certainly wasn't a perfect day. Roser and AJ raced poorly today. I told Jason after, I said, you know, he raced a little flat when he finished second or third his last start when they went that big mile in front of him. He didn't seem to have the same pop. We trained him the other day. He seemed a little flat, scoped a little bit of mucus. We put him on antibiotics, took his blood. Nothing really showed in his blood. Maybe a minor elevated white, but nothing serious. Just very mildly elevated. He certainly raced a lot worse today, and I had come off the track with him, and I said to Jason, just send him to the field. You know, he fits in with the exact same crew of everybody else. And actually, probably the closest scenario to time is on my side last year is AJ. Very fast colt, showed some talent, showed some speed, putting him away, bring him back in December to race, not to come back in. It's September 19th, 5 weeks. So that's the plan with Roser and AJ. I know one of our clients, I was talking about it, that they own Arrowhead. We'll talk about it in a minute. They own this horse. And they said, hey, but he's still got the consolation. No, he doesn't. I don't think there's any need to just try and wring every last ounce of heart and desire out of him. The last 2 times he raced were the only 2 times I found him flat, right? He looked bionic. Now, in the main, he looked very, very good, very strong. He's always done his work as well as he could all year. Mentally, he's finally dialed in good. We haven't raced him with the chain on in 2 starts. But he does feel tired. Now, different. It's very important. I touched on Aunt Lily yesterday, the only other horse in the last 2 days that raced poorly. And Aunt Lily's a little bit different. The way I felt her, she felt very strong and then fizzled out quick, but trained well and won her last start easy with the earplugs in. I felt she was a little different in the sense that I believe she was slipping. And the reason I say that is because when I see that happen, and I've raced in Canada my entire life, up until the last 2 years for the most part, in the wintertime when you have horses undercorked and they're slipping a little bit, they feel great, really strong, and then when you go to release that bit from the mouth and ask them to go forward, they will, or they'll try to, and then immediately tire themselves out in seconds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pylons, they're empty. They went from strong to empty seemingly out of nowhere. And that's what I saw with Aunt Lily yesterday. So I think they are 2 similar results, 2 very, very different scenarios. So Aunt Lily not to the farm, AJ out to the farm right away. We'll bring him back in to race in the winter months. Now, I get up today, obviously last night helped a bit, as I said in my earlier video that I posted. I'd won 3 races last night, but none of them were ours. But our horses did race very well. Sweeney raced great from post 8. We're going to talk about Sweeney in a minute. I have 6 horses that are being listed up for sale on Monday. The reason being, we're starting to move some other horses in. We're acquiring other horses. And I thought that part of the process was to move out Victory Blue Chip and a couple of those other horses, who also is going to try free agency one more time. Only this time there's not going to be any reserve. And I know Mike and a couple of my partners might be surprised to hear that, but I think he belongs in the class he's in, but he's not a Stone Cold winner, and we have Stone Cold winners waiting to get into that class. And we're going to have to race one of them in the Meadows and take one of them to Dayton. So we're going to move some horses around this week. As you just found out, Sweeney and Victory Blue Chip are 2 of those horses. So before we get to that, let's talk about today, because today it wasn't a horrible day. Roser and AJ felt a little tired. Fine, we'll just give them some time off. It's not the end of the world. Roser and AJ has been a good colt. He hasn't lived up to the expectations we had for him. It's not the end of the world. So we'll turn him out for a little bit. Horse that was amazing today, though, was Arrowhead Hanover. You know, I'll tell you, It's been a pretty taxing and trying last 72 hours, or 48 hours for sure. No, 72 for Amy and I and everybody. And it's tough, you know, we talk about turning the page, but it's never that easy just to truly turn the page. It just seemed like everything kept piling on. There didn't seem to be a culmination, a precipice that we could just, once we get over it, I couldn't see the top of the roller coaster. Amy felt it too, and you know, it wasn't that I had no confidence in Arrowhead Hanover. I had lots of confidence in him, but I couldn't still tell you why he made the break in the final. So if I don't know what went wrong, it's almost impossible to make it go right? We made a few tiny little changes in the warm-up. I couldn't blast him off the car from the rail. I had to be conservative. And I'm not really that interested in getting away in the 2-hole anyway. In Delaware, it's funny because the 2-hole is great, but you may never get out of there. There's no passing lane. And the one thing about Delaware is it plays just like Northfield Park of old used to. You know, before they fixed it. You used to be able to move a horse and just lay on the outside. Not much like Dexter did today. Him getting parked from the 5-hole the whole way in the jug worked out way better than me getting parked the whole way from the 5-hole in the jug 2 years ago. Still finished second. I'll talk about the jug in a second too. But Arrowhead Hanover, first over, that is a hell of a mile for any 2-year-old trotter in September. And I think it's worth noting, you know, for people that may say, well, Roser and AJ, maybe he's tired, maybe we were too hard on him, maybe we had him ready too early. I'll defer until you have an opportunity to go back yourself and watch the videos from May. And I told you how hard I trained Arrowhead Hanover. All the month of May. Wasn't behaving properly. He was still dogging it and doing dumb things when he shouldn't. And he trained harder than any 2-year-old we had in the barn at that point. And he's never been as fresh or as good as he was today. First over is not his forte, so to speak. Remember, Mark came first over with him. He kind of pulled up in the last turn and then come back on. I knew I had to be first over, but I thought if I put him in gear and had him sailing into the last turn hard, attentive, paying attention, and stayed on him, that he could get the job done. And he did. Now, I didn't expect 55 and 2. It was a very good mile. I was thoroughly impressed with him. It just felt like that we were able to shake that monkey somewhat off, or at least one of them off my back. It felt good to win with Arrowhead. It felt great to win with Jason's horse. I like to win with Jason's horse also, and Atlas. It was great. But it was nice to win with Arrowhead. It just felt good. Tactical Mounds, a little flat. Finished third, I thought. Probably should have been second. I didn't get a chance to catch up with Scotty after to ask him what he thought, but I'm sure the horse on the front looked like he got everything his own way. She got everything her own way, and she was probably one of the better horses in the race and won the race. But I didn't think maybe she could beat for second, so a little bit flat, but not really the end of the world, I don't think. You know, in reflection, it was obviously a bad jug week for obviously a number of reasons. Gorgeous Package was great. Arrowhead was great. A number of horses. Sunny was okay. A little flat, but okay. And that leads us to a couple of horses that are in the sale. Now, I thought about the sale. Hard all day. Am I going to bother? Am I not? Well, we do have the sale over and another sale coming. We have horses tripping all over themselves. We have some horses that are getting out of their classes soon. Other horses we've just purchased or we're planning to purchase that are coming into these classes. So we do have some horses to move out. We've been trying to move poor Victory Blue Chip out for, this will be his 4th run. He is again on it. There'll be no reserve this week. And I know, as I said, I'm sure my partner Mike, a number of the other people probably don't want to hear that, but truthfully speaking, Victory Blue Chip is one of 4 or 5 horses we have that fit that class. And I'm not missing weeks and having other horses miss weeks because we have other ones in. So Victory is going on preferred again. Sweeney going on preferred. I like the horse. I think he's okay. I would have thought he'd won more of the races by now than he has. But I am going to move Sweeney on also. Now, both those horses, Victory Blue Chip, I mean, nobody bid on him last time for, what, 11 or 12,000, but I have no idea why. Nice sound horse. That's what he should bring, I suppose. And I was flabbergasted that he didn't last time. Sweeney, same type of thing, probably 13, 14,000. He gets around a half, big, beautiful, good-looking horse. Gets around a half good. No free lunch. I know Keith has emailed me and texted me multiple times asking about bringing lunch back to Ontario. I have no interest in bringing him back there. And I know Keith makes some good points. I know you desperately want to see him back there. And maybe I'm wrong. But I don't think I am, and I'm not sending no free lunch back to Ontario. I'm worried about the surface at Dayton being a little bit deep with his old injuries. Nice, classy horse. But in the twilight of his career, somewhat. He's not going to go back into the Open anytime soon. He's not going to pace 49 anytime soon. I just don't see a spot for him full-time moving forward. Cleveland Masha, I don't think I have to explain this too much. I would put my Wicked Heart on here, but she would literally bring $0 right now. Cleveland Masha will probably bring, what, $5,000, $6,000? I just can't condone keeping her there. And I'm certainly not taking her to Ohio. Is she going to grow up and be a better horse? Possibly. I hope she does for whoever buys her. I can't make any sort of an argument to keep this filly on right now. The last 2 ones are going to surprise everybody a little bit. Brace for Landing, I can tell you right what it's worth, $60,000. That's what he goes for on the claimer, and that's where we can race him somewhere. It's just, he is going to fit into that ladder situation. I don't really want to send him back to Mohawk to go up, win a couple of races, then go up and get beat up a couple of times, come back down, go back up and get beat up. As I said to Daniel today, I do not want to race our horses like that anymore. I have no interest in that. I want to have horses that fit in hours 2 up to 10, and then really, really good horses. Now, if you float around the top like looks like money because you're a nice horse, okay, fine. But if we're just going in the middle, again, Yo Mystery is just above that bubble. I mean, just above that bubble. We have Looks Like Money back right now. Texan Soprano is almost back, and so is Spitfire Overseas. Legit open type trotters. There's just not a lot of places to race Brace for Landing right now. Gets around half, gets around a 5/8, gets around obviously any size track, and he was good his last start. It's set for one more win. If somebody wants a really nice horse to race in the middle condition classes, then that's your horse. I just have zero interest in racing the ladder game. I'm not doing it. And that brings me to the last horse, which is Gypsy Hill. And a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear that. This is a horse that right now, I don't know if he still is, but unofficially on the standings that they show on the Ohio State website right now, he's #1 in the Buckeye standings. He is also guaranteed a spot in the Consolation, Sire's Consolation. So he is going to race in both. In the Buckeye, he's competitive, very competitive. In the Sire Stakes Consolation, he will be also. Another horse, though, 9 wins. You want to race him around Ohio? It's going to be a really nice horse for somebody. But we have a lot of horses to put in these classes. And as we approach the sales, it makes all the sense in the world to start moving some of these horses around that I know at some point are not going to have a place to race. In our barn. I'm not sending Gypsy Hill to Ontario. I'm not sending him to Saratoga or Dover, somewhere like that. As I told you, we're going to focus on what we do good at. Non-winners of 1, 2, up to non-winners of 10, and open horses. In the middle, don't have much interest for it right now. So that is what went on today. I get to sit there and watch my brother in the jug. I wish he had a won. Looks like he might have got him jammed up coming into the half, to the 5/8 pole today, and he ended up being a little flat. Nobody's gonna. I was sitting there at the picnic table today, and I said to Ron Burke, he's sitting there, I said, not only can I not beat you on the track, but when I have a really bad week, I can't even beat you. You had a worse week. All his horses run as favorites in the final. His horse run in the Jugette, interfered with his other horse in the Jugette. The one that made a break was 3-5 in the Jugette. Both trotting finals, he was 3-5. Both fillies run going into the first turn. Now, he won some races. When you race 8 million horses, you're going to win some races. This horse got parked in the elimination of the Jug. We used to get to race in it, but love of God, I told him, I said, are you trying to steal my thunder here? You're not going to take any of my self-pity. Well, hopefully we're coming out of it right now, because that win from Arrowhead Hanover certainly felt like we are, and I hope we are. So we'll see how the rest of the week plays out. I am in the midst of finalizing the buckets for Kentucky. I just wanted to bounce a few ideas off some of our clients that I've been talking to about this. I think there'll be a number of buckets for people. I think I got it right, but I want to make sure. So I should be able to post something rough for you tomorrow, and then by Friday morning, let's say 10 a.m. Wait, no, tomorrow is 10. It's Friday, isn't it?
Yes, sure.
Okay, by Friday at noon, I hope to have everything live for you. I will tell you this, I'm a little surprised. We are going to have another, well, we don't really need a bucket, but we're going to have a rather expensive pacer, and I've already had like 8 people ask to get in. Hopefully I can talk those people into getting into a trotter also. So we'll have some shares of a high-end pacer and a trotter for you out there. I made 2 buckets. Just 2 small. Should have 3 horses in one and 2 horses in the other, like we did in Ohio, except a smaller. A bucket A and a bucket B. The B one being a little more economical. And then I had, rather than going to jurisdictions, I went to trotting fillies and trotting colts. Now, I don't feel the need to go to pacing fillies and pacing colts, simply because I don't think there's going to be a marketplace for it. I didn't go jurisdictionally because, again, you have 7 months. If we buy a Chapter 7 and a Walner and a whatever, a Captain Corey, and then you look and say, well, I don't want to go to New York. Well, you do have 7, 8, 9 months to get rid of that share. And quite frankly, if you really want rid of it, if I like the horse, we can just take the share and sell it online. Not a big deal. We'll have a little over a week to sell these shares, to sell these buckets out. I will tell you right now, the high-end pacer and trotter may be full right now. And if we fill up the other buckets, and there's a necessity for anything else, then obviously we can put something else together. I love the way Ohio went. I love the way it feels. I want to keep things going, and I want to be aggressive this time of year, and that's why these horses are going into sale. Because it makes sense right now to do that. So let me know what you think. As I said, there are 6 horses going up for sale tomorrow. Brace for Landing, Cleveland Masha, Gypsy Hill, No Free Lunch, Sweeney, and Victory, Blue Chip. It's been a tough week. Like I said, you know, I was talking to my wife about it the other night, and I said, you know, you're just got to keep your head down, keep your nose to the grindstone, keep swinging. And hopefully we punch through today with Arrowhead Hanover. It felt that way. It feels that way right now. Meadows is back next week. We're going to have a ton of horses down there in the middle of the week. It is going to be an extremely busy week next week. We have stakes at the end of the week, and then Amy and I head to Lexington to look at babies with the Hutchinsons and Steve, Daniel, and everybody else that's going to descend in Kentucky. I will tell you this. You should come. Feel free to come to Kentucky. Look at the horses with us. Come out to dinner with us. Come to the sales with us. I was so surprised the other day. I pulled into Kentuckiana. We had 8 people there, plus myself, waiting to look at babies as a group. Just on a Monday. It's an open invitation to everybody. Feel free. Either you want to see how the process works or be a part of the process. It's all the same to me. It's all the same to us. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I hope you had a good day. I know for many of my partners, Marco and everybody else with AJ, it's disappointing. But you know what? AJ will come back a strong colt. Just look at the lines on time from last year. It's not that different. Now, sure, one was a very, very expensive pacer with a little deeper pedigree. AJ's no slouch either. He's got lots of speed, lots of talent. It's not his attitude. The horse does not have a bad attitude. I just think he's a little tired. For my partners on Arrowhead Hanover, no idea how important that win was and how far it went today. And for everybody else, keep rowing. We're going to keep pushing forward and see what the future brings. So with that, I'll let you go. Take care. I will talk to you all tomorrow morning. Get a good night's sleep. Although it's almost the weekend, we got a long week.